Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 201st episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, How to Make Money Blogging. Now, I can't believe we just celebrated our 200th episode of the podcast. It feels so wild when I reflect back onto 2019 when I just started this little podcast as a hobby. And here we are now, episode 201. And as I was thinking about what do I want to talk about today, I thought I wanted to get back to the roots that really changed everything for me, and that was blogging. When I learned that you can make money blogging, the game changed for me because I realized, wow, I found a side hustle where I don't have to work with clients. I can do this on my own time, and I can make I can make income through multiple streams of income, including passive income. So I thought, what better episode than to talk about how to make money blogging? Because I think for so many of you, you may be wondering, yes, tell me more, Katie. How do you actually make money blogging? Now, I'm going to dive into it. But before I dive in too deep, if you are listening to this live, I do want to let you know that I am hosting a free webinar called Blogging as a Business on May 23rd, 2024. So this episode is dropping on May 22nd. So if you're listening to this on the 22nd or the 23rd, go to katiedodd.com, sign up for my free Blogging as a Business webinar. We're going to cover what I'm talking about now, but then go into so much more detail. And if you can make it live, it's going to be at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. If you can make it live, there'll be plenty of time for Q&A, so you could actually show up live, pick my brain, ask me any questions that you have. Now, if you are watching this on the replay and you're like, well, shoot, it is, either the next day or the next year or long after that date, then go to blogfreebie.com. Blogfreebie.com it's just a redirect to get you signed up to watch the on-demand version of my webinar. I always update it with the most recent version of the webinar. And I've done this webinar multiple times, but it's been a while. I actually just decided last week that I was going to host this webinar because I'm like, I love doing this webinar. I love teaching people. In a nutshell, the webinar is about how to make money blogging. It's called Blogging as a Business, and we'll talk about that today. But really, it's focused on like not blogging as a hobby, but treating it like a business to make money. So hopefully you can join me. Catch the replay of that. But let's have a discussion right now about how a blog actually makes money. So if you've heard me talk before about money, you've probably heard this oversimplified way that I paint the picture on how we make money. And that's where we're going to start. We're going to start at the very simple principle of how we make money. And how we make money, we need 2 things. We need something to sell, and we need someone to sell it to. And we need both of them. They're both equally important. And the reason I say this is because so often as dietitians, we sit down and we start making a list of all the things we can sell. We are so good at creating the somethings to sell. We really are. We can make amazing handouts. We could bust out a course. We can create a package to work with clients one-on-one. Creating something to sell, honestly, like it does take work. It's not always easy, but it's probably like our default, like the easier thing to do. But the problem is, you can create the best product in the whole wide world. It can be incredibly amazing. It can be life-changing. But if no one buys it, you're not going to make money. And let's be honest, no one's life is going to be changed, right? So it's not enough just to have something to sell. You need someone to sell it to. You need an audience. You need people that you can directly communicate with. So that way, when you let them know that you have something to sell, they are available for purchase. Now, the something to sell piece is important, but you need both. Something to sell and someone to sell it to. Because again, you could have the best product in the whole world, no audience, you're not going to make money. On the flip side, you could have a huge audience. Maybe you have a massive social media following. But if you're not offering anything to sell, you're not going to make money either. So that's why it's that sweet spot of needing both. Now, to make money blogging, it is very similar, but we do need a third element. To make money blogging, we need a blog, something to sell, and someone to sell it to. And I will say it's not just having a blog, it's having the right type of blog. If you're like, what the heck is a blog? I often use the terms website and blog interchangeably, but a blog is a part of a website. So if you go to my primary website, the Geriatric Dietitian, the whole shebang is my website. There is a section where there's a blog. There are pages that are static, like my home page, my about page, my contact page, my services page. When I say static, it means I don't update those very often. They pretty much stay the same. My blog, on the other hand, that is where I am posting blog articles. I generally have about 2 to 4 blog articles go out every single month. And so that is a page that you go to and it has all these different articles that are coming out. So that's the piece that's changing. That's where new content's coming in. So a lot of us don't really think about blogs or blogging. I often hear like, oh, blogging's dead. But we often go on blogs every day and we don't realize it. A blog is simply what comes up when you search something on a search engine. Most of us use Google. So if you go on Google and you search something, you look for the answer, you click on, whatever title to an article seems to best fit your answer and you go read it, you're reading a blog article. And so many of us are on blogs every day. We just don't quite really understand what that is. So to make money blogging, we need something to sell, someone to sell it to, and the right type of blog, the right type of platform that's going to allow us to do all of the things. So let's dive into first the something to sell piece. What are the things that you could possibly sell on your website? Well, I do want to say this is the thing I love about blogging, you guys. Your website is your online platform for business. You can sell anything you want through your website. The sky is the limit. The only limit is you. I mean, I'm kind of jumping the gun here because I will say, even though I'm not really going to dive into this concept, but you do need to talk to your audience and figure out what they actually want to pay money for. But in a nutshell, once you create a blog business, you can create money through multiple streams of income. And there's so many ways that you can make money. So I'm going to break down a couple of different concepts for you guys. I want to talk about now money and later money. And I want to talk about active income and passive income. Okay. So now money is the money that you can make right now. You decide next week you're going to publish your blog. You get it live. What are the ways that you could actively make money now? Well, there are things that you could certainly do to make money now as a business owner who is a blogger. But there's also amazing things you could do to make money later. Money later, really, I'm talking about passive income. That is talking about later on, as you get more traffic to your website, as you start to build an audience, as you start creating more streams of income, this is money that comes in month after month after month that doesn't require you to trade time for money. So you're not necessarily showing up for, working with clients one-on-one or doing contract gigs. This is passive income that you're making on the back end. So passive income doesn't happen right away. It is not free money. It is not easy money. It comes with time. But that's the beauty of a blog, is that you can make money now, but then you can also make that sweet, sweet later money. So active income and passive income, they kind of overlap with this concept of now money and later money, but they're a little bit different. It's really how we are making money, how we are, I guess, trading time for money. Most of us in school, we only learned about active income. Active income is where we are trading our time for money. Hourly pay for hourly work. You work a 40-hour-a-week job, you get paid for 40 hours a week. If you have a salary gig, you get paid your salary. If you have contract work where you're working for someone else, you get a gig, you do the work, you turn in that work, and get paid. One and done. You are trading time for money. Passive income, on the other hand, is where you are not actively trading time for money. Essentially, you create something once to sell. You do have to have systems in place to bring people into your world to buy it, but then essentially you are selling it on autopilot. I like to call it money you make in your sleep, and I will tell you nothing feels better than to wake up in the morning, check your phone, and see that you made hundreds of dollars yesterday, and you didn't technically work. But I hope that you guys hear me, and I think honestly everyone understands this, that passive income isn't just free, easy money. It takes a lot of work on the front end to get to the point where you are making that amazing passive income on the back end. So when we talk about now money and later money, passive income is not now money. You don't make a website next week and all of a sudden you start making, hand over fist and passive income. That is not how it works, because you don't have an audience. You don't have anyone to sell to yet. But there are things that you can do to make money in the present. But then over time, you build up your blog, you build up your traffic, you build up all the things, and then you can start making that later money, which primarily will look like passive income. But there's still some active income that you can do in there to make money and impact later. So I hope those two concepts really helped you to understand when you start a blog business, you can make money now, you can make money later. Don't worry, I'll give you specific examples of what that means. But then also, You have active income and passive income, and the sweet spot of blogging is passive income because even though it doesn't happen overnight, over time, with the right strategy and systems, you can create a passive income machine that is making it to where you don't have to always trade time for money, because eventually we just get burnt out. And let's create a way that we can help people where we're not always trading our time. So let me see. I had some slides pulled up here because I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about some specific examples of how you can make that now money and later money. So I'm going to give you some examples of now money. I start a blog next week. I'm like, okay, I am a blogger. I'm a business owner. I'm doing it. What are things that I could do as I am building my blog business? Well, I could do freelance work. I could do work for other people, and I can get paid now. Especially if you take the effort to learn blogging, learn search engine optimization, which we'll talk about in a minute, then that really opens the door for you to be a freelancer. You could also do work with brands and media. You could do sponsored content. You could work with clients one-on-one. And also, I will say you can make some passive income like low ticket, but it's not going to be the answer to all your dreams where like, I can leave my job. So an example of that is through my blogs. Right away, I was selling handouts, and I think I made like, a couple $100, not a ton of money, but it still adds up, right? So looking at the later money for typically a blog, how we can make that passive income later, often that looks like selling books. That could be ebooks or books on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, selling digital handouts, selling courses, affiliate income where people buy through your affiliate links. Most often that looks like Amazon. So maybe you're writing an article about protein powders and you're like, hey, here's the protein powders that I tend to recommend for my clients. You do have to like have full disclosure. Amazon has their own language on what you have to say, but people have to know that you do make a commission if they go through that link. So if they go to that link, you do make a tiny commission. And then really the bread and butter of blogging is making money through ad revenue. And this is where you qualify for what I call a high-end ad network, not like a clickbait one that's going to destroy your website. We don't want to do that. But you have ads on your website, and it is a way to make money, really good money, and it just helps to complement everything you do. And I like to think of the ad network I work with is called Mediavine, and they are a high-end ad network, although they have a new program, which I mentioned recently on the podcast, where you just need 10,000 sessions a month to qualify for their newer program called Journey. Quite a few people in our blogging accelerator program have already gotten into Journey, so I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like. But historically, you have to get to 50,000 sessions per month to qualify for Mediavine, start making really good income through blog. I'm babbling, through ad income. Yes. Money through ads on your website. So the passive income piece is typically later money, but there are certainly lots of ways that you can make money now through the blog. And one thing I do want to mention, I guess before I start talking a little bit more about like the, someone to sell it to piece, because we're talking about something to sell, but I want to talk about some of the benefits of a blog. So having a blog, having this online platform, having a website that is your own, it's your platform for online business. I know I said this, but it really lends itself to have multiple streams of income, especially passive income. And it's something where if you look at it as this is like a long game, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not just starting this for a month or two and canceling. I'm going to keep doing this. Then over time, you'll continue to add multiple streams of income. And even if they're small streams, a lot of streams add up. And you can be in this point where your website is making thousands of dollars month after month where you are not actively working in the blog. Having a website also gives you authority. It has authority, and with authority comes opportunity. You probably heard me say this before, but my website's called The Geriatric Dietitian. I am not the only geriatric dietitian, and I'm probably not even the best geriatric dietitian. But when you Google things related to my niche, it pulls up a website called The Geriatric Dietitian. My name is there, my picture is there, and that gives me opportunities that fall into my lap. I get companies, I get people, I get, opportunities that are sent into my inbox that I'm not even looking for. Amazing gigs where I get to help people and make impact. And it's all just because I have this website that gives me authority. So when you start a blog, you make money through a lot of different ways, but sometimes they're ways that you can't even imagine right now until you get yourself out there, and it builds authority because people see you as the go-to expert. I also think of blogging as a business as like sowing seeds, understanding that everything you're doing, it's really like like sowing seeds for a garden, understanding that right away it's not going to look impressive. It's going to look like a field of dirt and then a field of a couple little sprouts. But then over time, you're going to have a huge like garden, and it's going to be time to like reap the harvest, right? So having a blog, it's really focused on sowing seeds and growing. And there's also no limit. That's my favorite part. There is no limit to the amount of impact and income that you can make in the online space. It really is phenomenal. And I feel so grateful that we are alive this day and age to have access to the internet and to be able to help people and work from home and do what we want to do. And I'm still blown away by it. So I hope that that made sense when I was talking about the something to sell piece. I talked again about making money now, making money later, and there's lots of different ways you can make money through your blog, and there's a lot of benefits that come from being a blog business owner. Let's talk about someone to sell it to, though. Because again, really making the something to sell piece, especially if we're talking about making something for your brand, making a course, making a handout, that piece is like, yeah, it is complicated. There's pieces to it, but once you make it, it's one and done. But the more important piece is finding someone to sell to. And how do we actually find humans to sell to? Well, this is where the blog comes in. So I'm not going to dive into everything about how we build traffic through blogging, though again, come to my webinar, we'll dive a little bit deeper. But essentially through the blog, our whole goal is to drive traffic to the website. We are using a strategy known as search engine optimization, and the goal is to bring thousands and thousands of people to the blog every month. Recurring stream of people coming into our world. So when it comes to blogging, that is really how we build or find the someone to sell it to is SEO. It's through the blog. And my blog, The Geriatric Dietitian, makes thousands of dollars in passive income every month. And it is because there are articles out there online. When people are searching for a specific topic, it brings them to my website, and I'm able to make money through multiple streams of income. Through my blog, I primarily make passive income. I make passive income through ads on the website, selling digital goods, selling ebooks, selling courses. One course. I have one course. And also having Amazon affiliate links. So my blog makes money even if I don't even touch my blog. And I've told a lot of you this, but I actually have a blog manager who runs the blog. So I very seldom am in the blog, but it's still making money every month because it has that constant stream of traffic. And this is the sweet spot and beauty of blogging, is that if done right, you can have this constant stream of traffic to your website, and it will open up the door to make that wonderful passive income. So finding someone to sell to, it's not just the blog though. You can also find people through social media, depending on what direction you want to go. I will say a lot of people in my world don't really want to do social media, and that's why they're bloggers, and that's fine. But social media is also a wonderful place where you can find people to sell to, whether or not it's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. And then also finding someone to sell to is getting people on your email list. So that way you can contact them directly. So I'm not going to dive too much into the someone to sell it to, but again, I want you guys to know that to make money blogging, you got to have a good blog on the right platform. You need to have things to sell, and you need to have someone to sell to. And the last thing I'll say before we wrap this up is that it's all about timing. I think so often when people start a business, they start focusing on, what do I want to sell? How am I actually going to make money? Well, what am I going to sell to people? But if you don't have an audience, no one's going to buy from you. You're not going to make money. So if you spend all this time creating something to sell, you will essentially be wasting your time because there's no one to buy from you. So in the beginning, our biggest focus, well, there's a lot of focuses. Our biggest focus is getting clarity in who we're going to serve through our website, narrowing down a niche, learning all the skill set that we need to build our blog business. But then our number one focus is building traffic. We need to have an audience. Once you have the audience, then all of a sudden you have someone to sell to. Let's give them things that they might want to buy. So over time, we want to strategically build out income sources. We want to spend our time at the beginning on putting out blog articles, working on our SEO strategy, and building traffic. And one thing I always say too is that, like, you might not even know what your audience really wants right now or what they're willing to pay money for. And as you build an audience, then you can talk to them. They'll tell you what they want. You just got to listen or ask or both. My first product that I started selling through the website, well, the first real bigger money maker was a cookbook called High Calorie Shakes. And I made it because my audience was asking me. People were emailing me, multiple people asking me, hey, do you have any recipes for high calorie shakes? Like, no, I don't, but let me make that for you. And this product has made me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I made it once back in 2020. And it's a wonderful example of passive income. So we need to build an audience, and then they'll tell us what they want. And then we build what they want, and then they actually buy it because it's what they wanted, not what we thought they needed. And then you make money blogging. And quite frankly, we don't want to see you wasting time creating products or services no one wants to buy, because then you're going to get burnt out and you're going to think, oh, this blog business stuff is, this doesn't actually work. So I hope this really paints the picture for how you make money blogging. You make money blogging by learning the right strategy to build a massive audience, bring lots of people to your website, and then you strategically build out things to sell to them and have multiple streams of passive income. Now, I mentioned again, I have my webinar coming up called Blogging as a Business, and I want to talk to you guys about why I called it Blogging as a Business. So when I first started my blog, I really wasn't all in. I wasn't like, head in the game, this is a business. I really saw it as a hobby. I'm like, okay, I see other people making money blogging. I see other dietitians doing this. I know it's possible. I'm going to do it. But I will say my head wasn't in the game as like a serious business owner. I was more like, oh, it's just a fun hobby. Hopefully it makes money. So 6 months into blogging, well, I almost burned myself out a few months in because of perfectionism that got in the way. I will talk about that in the webinar. But about 6 months into blogging, I made this decision because I really got into the world of business coaching. I really started learning more business strategy. I realized that blogging is a business and I need to have a whole other mindset in how I blog. And another thing I will say is a lot of people hear about how to make money blogging. We didn't even talk about how much money you can make blogging, but I will talk, I keep saying on the webinar, but on the webinar, I will share income reports for the first 3 years of my blog. So you'll actually be able to see how everything worked out for those first 3 years. And I think it's super fun. I like kind of peeling back the curtain and showing the behind the scenes of how all this stuff works. But it's really cool when you see that. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm going to start a blog. Then they start a blog, but they more start a hobby blog. And then they just kind of like, it fizzles out because they're not thinking strategically like a business owner. So what's the difference between a hobby blog and a blog business? A hobby blog is something you do for fun. You don't have any specific strategy. You just write about topics that interest you. Like you sit down and make a list of, oh, here's all the things that I want to write about for my blog. And then you create it, you put it out there, but not a lot of people visit. It's more, your friends and family. You might share it on social media and people might go to the website. But essentially, not a lot of people are seeing it, and you're certainly not making money. It is a hobby. And most hobbies that are blogs, it's going to fizzle out sooner than later. A blog business, I will say, is still fun. It's still super fun. Making money blogging is the funnest ever. But you have a very specific strategy. You write about topics that can potentially rank on the first page of Google. You bring in massive traffic, and you have a strategy for selling. So the whole purpose of my Blogging as a Business webinar is to teach you, well, first off, show you what's possible. Then we go through the 3 steps to get started and really help you on the route of, okay, you want to make money blogging? Here's what you got to do. So again, join me at katiedodd.com or blogfreebie.com if you're watching this later and just want to watch the replay. But if you're able to make it live, again, the webinar itself will be about an hour, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. I tend not to get off until everyone's questions are answered, so it can get long, but we'll knock out the meat and potatoes in the first roughly hour. I often go a little bit longer because I get really excited talking about this, and I have so much stuff crammed in it because I want you guys to know all the things. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you are interested in learning more about blogging, more about making money blogging, then go to katiedodd.com. One of my biggest focuses is on helping people make money blogging. It's my favorite thing. So have the very best week, and I'll see you next week on the podcast. Bye, guys.